My daughter was born in my own hands, on the side of a deserted road, at the entrance to a city that was still asleep. And for 47 seconds, I thought we were both going to die. This is the story of Aurora and the night that changed everything. It started months before that night. Small things I couldn't explain. A tightness in my chest that came and went without warning. A pulling sensation deep in my abdomen that felt wrong. Not like the books described, not like what other mothers told me to expect. I would wake up at 3 in the morning, drenched in cold sweat, my heart racing, my hands pressed against my belly as if I could protect her through sheer will alone. Something was wrong. I knew it. But every time I went to the clinic, every time I sat in those sterile white rooms under those fluorescent lights that buzzed like dying insects, I was met with the same cold, clinical dismissal. It's normal. First-time mothers always worry. Your exams are fine. They barely looked at me, barely listened. Their eyes were already on the next patient, the next chart, the next number in their endless system of protocols and procedures. But I felt it, in my bones, in my blood, in the way she moved inside me, frantic sometimes, too still at others. I told my husband, "I think something's wrong with her." He held my hand. He said all the right things, but I could see it in his eyes, the worry he was trying to hide, the fear that mirrored my own. The weeks dragged on. I stopped sleeping. I would sit by the window at night, one hand on my belly, whispering to her, "Hold on, little one, just hold on." I didn't know then that she would have to fight for her life before she even took her first breath. I didn't know that I would have to fight for both of us. It was 2:17 in the morning. I know because I looked at the clock the moment I woke up. The pain was different. Not like the Braxton Hicks contractions they warned me about. Not like the dull aches I'd been having for weeks. This was sharp, insistent, like something inside me was tearing. I lay there for a moment, frozen, my hand pressed against my side, trying to breathe through it. Maybe it's nothing. Maybe it will pass. But it didn't pass. It grew. I sat up slowly, carefully, my feet touching the cold floor. The house was silent. My husband was asleep beside me, his breathing slow and steady. I didn't want to wake him, not yet, not until I was sure. I stood up, and that's when I felt it. The warmth running down my legs. I looked down. Blood. Not a little, not spotting. Blood. My heart stopped. The world tilted. My hands started shaking so violently I had to grip the edge of the dresser to stay standing. No, no, no. I couldn't breathe, couldn't think, couldn't do anything but stare at the dark stain spreading on the white fabric of my nightgown. Please, not now, not like this. I don't remember crossing the room. I don't remember turning on the light. But suddenly, my husband was awake, his face white with terror, his hands on my shoulders, his voice cutting through the fog. "What's happening? Talk to me." "The baby," I whispered. "Something's wrong with the baby." We didn't pack a bag. We didn't call ahead. We just moved. He grabbed the car keys, I grabbed a towel, and we ran. The front door slammed behind us, the sound echoing through the empty street like a gunshot. The night air hit my face, cold, sharp, real. And I realized with sudden, absolute clarity, we were in a race against time, and I didn't know if we would make it. The world became a blur of streetlights and shadows. My husband drove like a man possessed, his knuckles white on the steering wheel, his jaw clenched so tight I could see the muscles jumping in his neck. I was in the passenger seat, doubled over, my forehead pressed against the dashboard, trying to breathe through the pain that was now coming in waves. In, out. Just breathe. Just hold on. But the pain was swallowing me whole. It wasn't just physical, it was primal, ancient, like my body was being split open from the inside. I could hear my heartbeat in my ears, loud, too loud. Thump, 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 thump. How much longer? I gasped. 10 minutes, maybe less. 10 minutes? It felt like an eternity. The streets were empty, deserted, like the whole world had disappeared and left us alone in the darkness. Fog clung to the road, thick and white, swallowing the beams of the headlights. I closed my eyes. Another contraction. This one made me scream. I didn't mean to. I tried to hold it in, but it tore out of me, raw and animal. My husband's hand found mine, squeezed. You're okay. We're almost there. But I wasn't okay. I felt it then, the pressure, building, unbearable. And then the warmth again. Different this time. I looked down. My water had broken, right there, in the car. The seat beneath me was soaked. I could feel the liquid pooling, warm and strange. And suddenly, everything became terrifyingly real. She's coming, I whispered. What? She's coming, now. No, hold on. We're almost. I can't. The pain was unbearable now, consuming. I couldn't think, couldn't breathe, couldn't do anything but feel my body taking over, doing what it was built to do, whether I was ready or not. I can't stop it. My husband's voice was frantic now, panicked, breaking. Just hold on, please, just a few more minutes. But time had stopped meaning anything. There was only the pain, the pressure, the overwhelming, unstoppable force of life demanding to be born. And then we stopped. Not at the hospital. We weren't there yet. We had stopped at the entrance to the city, a traffic light, red, glowing in the fog like a warning. Empty streets stretched out in every direction. The dashboard clock read 3:04 a.m., and I felt it, the final impossible pressure. She was coming right now. I have to get out, I gasped. What? No, I have to get out. I don't remember opening the door, but suddenly I was outside, the cold dawn air hitting my skin like a slap, my legs barely holding me up. The world was silent, empty, just the glow of the streetlights cutting through the fog and the sound of my own ragged breathing. I took 3 steps. That's all. 3 steps away from the car, and then my body gave me no choice. I sank to my knees on the cold pavement. The ground was rough, damp. The smell of wet asphalt and fog filled my lungs. My husband was beside me in an instant, his hands on my shoulders, his voice in my ear. What do I do? Tell me what to do. But I couldn't answer. I couldn't do anything but push. Once, twice. The pain was beyond anything I'd ever known, beyond description, beyond comprehension. It felt like my body was being torn apart and remade in the same moment. And then I felt her, sliding into my own hands, warm, wet, impossibly tiny. Time stopped. The world stopped. Everything stopped. I looked down, and there she was, Aurora. Her eyes were closed. Her body was still, too still. For one eternal, horrifying second, I thought. But then, a sound, small, weak, a cry. The most beautiful sound I have ever heard in my entire life. She was breathing. She was alive. I pulled her to my chest, my hands shaking so badly I could barely hold her, tears streaming down my face, my whole body trembling with shock and relief and disbelief. My husband was crying, I was crying. The fog swirled around us, the streetlights flickered, and in that impossible moment, on the cold pavement at the entrance to a sleeping city, under a sky that was just beginning to turn gray with the first hint of dawn, "Hello, little one," I whispered. "Hello." I don't remember the rest of the drive. Everything was a blur of streetlights and tears and the feeling of her tiny body against mine, her heartbeat fluttering like a hummingbird's wings. She's alive, she's alive, she's alive. When we pulled up to the emergency entrance, my husband was screaming before the car even stopped. "Help! Somebody help us!" Nurses came running, a flood of white uniforms and urgent voices. They surrounded us, took her from my arms. I didn't want to let go. My body screamed in protest, but they were firm, professional. She was born in the car. How long ago? 5 minutes, maybe less, on the street. I saw their faces change, shock, disbelief. One nurse looked at me, her eyes wide. "You delivered her yourself?" I nodded. I couldn't speak. They moved us inside, a wheelchair for me, a warming station for her. Everything happened so fast. Monitors, IVs, examinations, questions I couldn't answer. But through it all, I could hear her, crying, strong, alive. A doctor came to me an hour later. Her face was kind, but serious. "You're both incredibly lucky," she said quietly. "If you had been 5 more minutes, if you had tried to wait..." She didn't finish the sentence. She didn't have to. We were seconds away from a different ending, seconds away from a tragedy instead of a miracle. But somehow, we made it. Aurora is 3 years old now. She's wild and bright and full of life. She laughs like sunshine. She runs like the wind. And every single day, when I look at her, I remember that night. The cold pavement, the fog, the moment I held her in my hands and thought I was losing her. And I realize, we don't always get to choose how our story begins. Sometimes it starts in fear, in chaos, in impossible circumstances. Sometimes it starts on the side of a road, in the darkest hour of the morning, when you're more terrified than you've ever been in your life. But that doesn't mean it's not a miracle. Maybe the greatest miracles are the ones that happen when everything is falling apart. When you have nothing left but hope and love and the desperate, unshakable will to survive. Aurora came into this world fighting, and so did I. And I would do it all over again. Because she is my daughter, my miracle, my dawn.